Okay, so today I'm just going to go over a transition from Dotloop to DocuSign, how you create the opportunities, and what's different through the transaction in DocuSign versus Dotloop. Okay, it is going to be very basic. I am not the Dotloop queen. That is Caitlin. Oh, I am the Dotloop queen. I'm not the DocuSign queen. That is Caitlin. Um, so it's going to be the basics, but I just went through my own first transaction with DocuSign, and I found a lot of it was easier than Dotloop. So I'm hoping just to share that experience with you guys. Okay. Good. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do when we have a listing or a buyer is go into command. Okay. We want to make sure that they are added to our contacts. So I'm going to add someone. Now, if you got them from a campaign or if you got this person from using your app, their information will already be in here. If it's someone else, perhaps like an open house or just a friend referral, something like that, you would have to add them to your contacts. So I'm going to add my friend, but in my email address. Okay. The more information in here will transfer to your opportunity, which will then transfer to DocuSign. So it is similar to Dotloop in that way. If you have the phone number and email address, that is best. Okay. Okay. Right underneath here, I create my contact. Geez, I guess I used all of my email addresses. Okay. So once they're in your contacts, you're going to opportunities, and I'm going to create. Now I'm going to do a buyer side. It's the same process for a listing, just when you get to the opportunity type, instead of buyer, you would select listing and the opportunity name for the client. When it's a buyer, obviously you don't know what property they're going to purchase, so I'm going to leave it as her name right now. If it was a listing, I would put the property address in there. Now, my client is purchasing by herself. If there was a co-buyer, they would also have to be in my contacts, and I would connect them in this opportunity. Okay. Now, this has a star next to it, meaning it is mandatory. You can change it later. Again, obviously, as a buyer, I don't know if my commission rate is going to be 2.5%, 3%. I'm going to hope for the best and put 3. It's something that you can always change later.
I have a question, Trish.
And I'm going to say I'm in the point. Sure.
What is that just for, like, if you have a listing, you would just put the, like, my rate, or would I put the full amount? I'm sorry.
You would put you would only put what you
Got it.
have, like your side. Okay. Opportunity. Okay. So I'm going to say I'm in the opportunity phase and that it's scheduled. Okay. I'm going to create my opportunity. It will automatically take me to their opportunity card and I'll see my details. So this little pen right here is where I can change many of the phases, stages, the commission rate, the budget, when all of that stuff, when I know. Okay. Again, I can put in their budget if I know what they're pre-approved for, and then always change it later when I know what they actually go under contract for. If you keep track of your probable income, then you would want to do that. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is go to documents. and I'll have my checklists here. These are not the actual documents. This is just where the documents are hosted now that we submit for compliance in Command. What I want to do is click Start a Transaction. When I click that, I currently have two options. I have Dotloop and I have DocuSign. Okay. August 1st, we are all using DocuSign unless you paid for a private Dotloop. Okay. So I'm going to select DocuSign. Mine makes me sign in every time. Okay. And as you'll see up here, it has the name of my buyer and the date that it was created. This is essentially creating your loop. Okay. It's just called a room in DocuSign. But all of the information that we put in for here in your details is now in DocuSign. So I'm in the Documents tab. What I want to do is add documents. Now, I'm only licensed in New Jersey. For those of you that are licensed in 2 states, it is a little bit more difficult. You have to be on 2 boards to be able to access all the forms. But you should go to DocuSign Forms. Uh-oh. Let's try one more time. Okay, so you have the option for DocuSign Forms Library or DocuSign Form Groups. Now, if you select Groups, this will look very similar to Dotloop. Caitlin created folders essentially with all the forms in them. So you have PA buyer side, NJ of rental listing, whatever forms you need. Or you can select DocuSign Forms Library, and you'll have the different like I belong to Bright and Corrigan, New Jersey, Garden State. So I'll have all the forms from them that I can select what I need. Okay, so I have a listing agreement, consumer information. Some forms are very specific to our office, like the affiliated business agreement. So I would have to make sure that I come in here to select that. So you might have to go to a couple different libraries to get all the forms that you're looking for. So I'm going to do an ABA. Okay, I'm going to add that from that file. And you'll see once you add a document, it gets added into your room. Okay, so I'm going to go back, add some more. I definitely need this. Now, again, I'm only licensed in New Jersey. That's why I'm not showing as many forms. I've been pulling from zip forms actually, because as part of core, that's what I have access to. But if you guys are on BCAR, you'll have a library in DocuSign that has all the PAR forms as well. Okay. So just for the sake of this example, I'm just going to use these 2 forms. I might even just pull in one that has a couple more fields. All right, I'll do a listing agreement. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is go to people. I see that I have AWN, okay. The room owner is an additional service account, myself, okay. So I can invite other people into my room, but I have to have their email address and they will get sent something that says they're invited, okay. We're gonna see if this works. Okay, this part is important. You do want to make sure that you can always select their role. Okay, and invite. Now, when I go to envelopes, I can create an envelope that is multiple documents in one so that I can fill out the forms and assign who needs to sign which part or fill out which part, okay? Now, I'm not sure. I want to check first if my autofill happens in documents or if it doesn't happen until envelopes.
Another question?
Sure.
What happens if right now you have all hard copy PDFs? You would have the option probably under actions to pull them in?
So you have all hand signed forms?
Yes, I do.
Is it both parties hand signed?
I have all of the two listing contracts and then a buyer's contract. Yeah. That are all of the forms.
So in terms of submitting, so if you have all the buyer stuff filled out that the buyer needs to in the listing stuff, they can go right into Command. They don't have to go into DocuSign at all because the only time you would have to upload something into DocuSign is to get the other party to sign it. So if you wanted to send it to the listing agent, so that the sellers can sign the agreement that was hand signed, like something like that.
And that's what I would need. That's what I would need to do.
Right. Nothing has to go. It lives in Command now once everything is signed. The only reason we're using DocuSign is to get it e-signed. If you're not e-signing, it doesn't need to go in there.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. I have a good theory. Wi-Fi likes to stop. Okay. So I'm just going to go right to envelopes. And I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to say that I have to send my client all of those forms that are in documents. I have to send them the listing agreement, the ABA, and in New Jersey, it's called CIS, but the consumer notice. So I'm going to create a new one. You can name the envelope. So if I wanted it to be buyer docs, they will see that. Right here, I am using room docs, okay? Those 3 I just pulled into my room are now what I'm going to pull in to my envelope. Okay, I'm gonna add all 3 of them. We do have to add recipients. You can do pre-tagged roles or room participants, okay? So this part, I'm going to do buyer side. The buyer is Kat. And you'll see that this is similar to when you share in Dotloop. If they need to sign, can only view. By default, it says need to sign, but I guess it's always something to keep, notice of. Make sure. I put in the listing agreement. Okay. So, and if you're the agent, you are going to want to send it to yourself too. So I'm going to put me on there and add selected. Okay. So these little numbers right here, say we're both one, means that we can sign at the same time. If I don't want to sign until she signs, then I can make myself number 2. Okay. The bottom part is just a message. Please DocuSign these forms. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay. So I know that this part is super scary for myself. It wasn't too when I first used it. You have to click next. Um, it's like you're going to send it right from here since you're typing in a message and assigning who needs to sign, and you didn't even do anything to the documents yet. But when you do documents, okay. Okay. Well, questions while I wait for this load?
Trish, can you hear me? Trish?
I don't know if she's frozen.
I think she's frozen. Are
Melissa?
you there?
Okay, there you go. Try again.
Okay. If you, would there be a reason why you wouldn't want to send all of the docs in a room?
Yes, sometimes there's ones that like there's the buyer side services that might just be for you, or something that they don't need to sign, that you wouldn't have to send to them, but that might live in the room. There's also been situations for me that you make multiple envelopes. So it's like I'm going to send these 3 now, but then I get the MLS signed, and then I get something else signed, and you have multiple envelopes. So it's not always going to be. Sorry.
How do you select those individually then? Like when you did room docs, it picked everything?
Okay, so it shows everything in a list, but then I selected which documents I wanted. And I did select all, but you have the option to, select 2 out of the 3 or 3 out of the 5.
Oh,
It
okay.
doesn't have
I
to be
couldn't
all.
see that for some reason. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. I don't know why this doesn't want to work. I switched Wi-Fi's and everything. All right. Let's try again. Okay. So this part is slightly confusing, and also I know you've never seen this form. Again, I only have access to the Jersey forms. So on the right-hand side is the 3 documents that are in my envelope, okay? So at the top left, all that is yellow is for Kat, my client. If it's something that I need to sign, I drop it down and click my name, and now all my fields are blue. It will do that for however many contacts you have in here that need to sign. Okay, so if I had 2 buyers, the next color would be like pink or purple, and that would be color coordinated to them. So I'm going to go through my first document. You'll see now that things are pre-filled out, okay? Since it's connected to me, it already has Keller Williams Real Estate. It already has where my buyer needs to sign and the date signed. Now this part, when I switch to me, I have to put this declaration of business relationship. So I want to put my name, okay? And name of brokerage, I can just put company. And that when I send this to my client and to me, these are the parts that I'll fill out, okay? And then the date. Okay. If I need a checkbox, I can put it right there. I'm the buyer's agent and disclosed dual agent if the opportunity arises. That's what I want. Okay. Now the same thing goes for here. See, so now mine's blue, the listing agent, and I would fill out all of these fields. Okay. But all I have to do is just select what needs to go there. So, okay. The company, I can just put text box if I want it to be 12 Perry Drive, Newtown, PA. Okay. I do believe that if the forms let me open it up in documents, some of this would autofill for me, but since it didn't open, I'm just plugging in the standard fields, okay? Does authorize. Okay, you want to make sure that you get all your check boxes. Let's see, I'm already messed up myself. So great example. It's not me that I want to check these boxes off. I want Cat to. So if you added the wrong color, all I have to do is click delete, right? Makes it easy. It was kind of hard in Dotloop to delete things. You had to push like Control, Shift, Alt. So there's always a little box on the other side. Okay. I'm not going to fill out everything. And then the listing agent. Okay. And now this is the ABA. It filled out my buyer's name. It filled out my name. And then you can put the check mark if she does or does not select Greater Penn Abstract. Of course, she is going to because Sarah and Cindy are the best. And then right here, I'm going to put signature for my buyer. Okay. And a date signed. So now I did go through all 3 documents. Once everything is filled out, you can absolutely click recipient preview just so that you see, what it looks like on their side. Okay. See, so we put that date stamp. Oh, I guess I should change that to the right time zone. Huh. Okay. When you're satisfied with how it looks, you're going to X out of that and send it. This does actually send the forms to be signed. Okay, so that's the button that you can't take back. Okay, now in the envelopes, we'll see waiting for others, that there's 2 people and there's 3 forms. Okay.
Mhm.
Now I sent it to myself. See, you've been added to a room. That's because I used my address as my buyer. Okay, and that I have to sign these forms. Okay, so I'm going to review. Okay, I agreed to use electronic records. Continue. And now this is my buyer, okay? She can draw her own, she can upload, or she could just use what she has right here, okay? I'm gonna adopt and sign. It does, just like Dotloop, skip over all the documents, but they can scroll up and obviously see everything that I filled out and go through the paperwork that way, okay? And then she finishes, and once she finishes, I will be prompted to sign my side, okay? So now let's go back here. Okay, see? Cat Estevez viewed these forms. Now, can I sign? Sure. Okay, so see, I put the company and my name, those blue standard fields on the left-hand side that I pulled in. It automatically fills for me. Now I have to click that because it's the only one that I left open. See, all those little things I pulled in are still here. I sign, okay, and then I finish. That being said, now when I go back to my envelope, it now doesn't say waiting for others anymore, okay? So I'm gonna go to documents and I'll have my individual forms now, and you'll see I have my listing agreement, my CIS, and my ABA with these green check marks that say they're signed. It also automatically adds this, the word signed after it. If I want to archive my unsigned ones, I absolutely can. It's just this little button up here. You can always unarchive at any time. It makes it super easy for when now I go back to command and I want to add my consumer notice that I had signed, just to make it easy. Okay. You know, I have my CIS. I click add file, DocuSign, and I have all of these that say signed so I know which one to pull in, okay? So I have right here, my CIS signed, assign, and I didn't do the buyer agency. I did a listing contract because I couldn't find the other one. But okay, see, I have this one and then this one that says signed. So I know which one is the correct document for me to assign to this field. At this point, I would click submit to MC. Okay. And that would go to Carissa to check for compliance. When I get an agreement, I do the exact same thing. So that was just for my consultation stage. That was just the first steps of, hey, I just got this buyer. I added them as a contact. I started an opportunity and I created the transaction in DocuSign. Okay. Moving forward, if you were to get the agreement, you were to write up one, you would do the same thing. you would go back to your documents, and all you have to do is click go to transaction, and it will open your room just like it would open your loop. And you'll add the agreement of sale. You'll add the whatever form it is that you need. If it's something that's coming from the listing agent, if they use DocuSign, great. If they don't, you'll have to add it as a standard PDF, and then add the fields the same way in envelopes. Okay. Did I lose anybody, or does that make sense? I think the process is actually a little bit easier than certain things with Dotloop, just the way the standard fields pull everything. Do you have questions?
No, I think that's good because everything that I have is signed by not by both parties. So even though it's a PDF, I can go import the PDF from wherever I have it housed. I mean, it's going to be in command, but then go back and add all of the stuff that the buyer's agent has to do.
So right here, where it's you're in documents and you click add,
Uh-huh.
instead of going to DocuSign forms, you're just going to go to your computer. And since you scanned it in and saved it there, you'll just browse it in from your computer.
And my last question, because I name all of my files very meticulously, like dated and signed, and then it has everything like completed, signed, and the date.
Okay.
Will that cause an issue when I import that into DocuSign because it automatically adds a sign to it?
It will add that. It'll say signed, since whatever, it's labeled in your computer, it will upload with that name. But it won't create an issue as long as it is the actual signed one. Now, if it's something that you are still waiting for the other side to sign, once that comes back to you, it'll just say signed. DocuSign will still add it a second time.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Following. Yes,
okay.
I am.
Do you have any other questions? Anything that you think Dotloop can do that DocuSign can't? You can split PDFs in here if you're uploading them all at once. Honestly, the process is just as easy.
What is that, if I may ask, hand raised, what is that PDF that you would install? What is the name of it? Because I think there's a name like I love my PDF or blah, blah, blah.
I don't know what you mean. If the PDF is too big?
When you get a PDF and you're dividing it, because everything's like the agent sent 17 things down on one.
Oh, so I don't use any external site. I just split the document in DocuSign.
Yeah, but when I receive it, I'm receiving something, okay, from a buyer agent. And the buyer agent decides that he wants to do the agreement of sale, deposit money, everything is one group.
Yes.
You want to divide them basically and, put it in your address, whatever your address is for your listing. But in order to divide the PDF, is there a PDF name that we use, like to divide it?
You divide it in DocuSign. So if he sends you everything as a PDF, and you have a huge file of 12 documents, you're going to download the entire file. You're going to your computer. You're going to add it from your computer. I don't know if I have anything that is a big PDF, but I can try to find one. This is not a big one, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to open this.
Yeah.
And then I believe it's when I have it opened right here, document actions. I click split. Okay. And see, it's only 2, but if this was 19 pages, 30 pages, you do it the same way. So this says 1,
Okay,
and you just split it in here. Okay.
right. Mm-hmm.
And it'll ask me on the side, what do I name that document? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah.
Sorry. When you're splitting it, say it's the agreement of sale and, you know, with the offer and everything, does DocuSign recognize when it's a different form?
Say that one more time.
Does DocuSign, when you're splitting it, does DocuSign realize when it's a separate form?
Oh, so you basically assign the different forms.
Right.
See if I can do this again. I wish I had a bigger one to show you. Okay, so see how I click split and this comes up. So it's named 1, and I'll say AOS. And then on the side, I'll say from 1 to 13, which obviously I don't have 1 to 13, but see how they get highlighted?
Yep.
And then I would click add document. Page 14 to 20 is the seller property disclosure. And it highlights them for what is going. And then once you save it, it'll split them and then rename them.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
pretty easy, and it's better than Dotloop because you used to have to count what pages it's from, you know, and you have to scroll down and see what page you're on. But this one lays it all out for you right in front, so I would know like 1, 2, 3, 4 is all this.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Okay. So again, just remember that we're not submitting through DocuSign. We are pulling them back into Command and submitting within here. Okay. There's nowhere to submit your documents in DocuSign for us to see, for us to do compliance and for you to get paid. Okay. It's all through Command.
Mhm.
Do you have another question?
What about green sheet?
So the green sheet is now the commissions tab that you see in Command up here.
I'm sorry. Let me see where it is. Oh, okay.
So you would fill out an offer,
Mm-hmm.
add new, you have to accept the offer, and then you can click the commissions tab.
Okay.
Okay, but that's a whole nother.
That's another game plan.
Yeah. However, if you guys, you know, get your first listing or buyer side that you are going to use DocuSign for, just come in and set an appointment with Caitlin or I, and we will walk you through getting your forms signed in DocuSign. Okay. Sometimes it doesn't make sense until you sit down and do an actual transaction. Like for me, I would just always send everyone to Caitlin and say that she's DocuSign queen until I had to do it for myself. And now it makes so much sense. Okay.
Can I just say one more thing?
Of course you can.
I think it's your birthday.
No, it was a week ago.
Oh, I didn't mean to miss it.
It's okay.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank
We're
you.
about to celebrate when all this COVID gets lost. Yes. All right.
All right, ladies.
Toast.
Thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're so
All right.
Very
No
helpful.
problem.
Have a super great day.
You guys too.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.